is day 3 of my 30-day series where I focus on healing, self-reflection, self-improvement, self-growth, and all that good stuff. Today, we are going to be talking about what it means to heal. Healing itself, it can mean something religious or spiritual or, something completely different. But for me, it is just simply taking back my life. I feel like a lot of us are living on autopilot mode, or maybe even worse, survival mode. And, we tend to lose sight of what life actually means. And to be honest, we're not really aware of how much we actually need healing because we're just numb. It's really interesting because one day I woke up after just being on autopilot and survival mode for basically my entire life. And I woke up one day and I was like, why does everything hurt? Like, I am feeling so vulnerable. I am feeling, angry, but also I want to cry and I want to punch a wall, but I also want someone to hug me. And then I was like, oh, it's time. I need healing. So I can only speak on behalf of myself and myself only, because everybody's experiences with healing, everybody's, experiences in life, completely different. We're all very, very unique. We're all very, very different. There is not one single person that thinks, looks, lives exactly like you. You are your own unique being. And this applies to healing and everything else in your life as well. So once again, I can only speak on behalf of myself and my own experiences. There's not necessarily a one-size-fits-all mold when it comes to healing. It's very, very unique. And what works for this person might not work for you, and it might not resonate with you. And that itself is completely fine. It is absolutely completely fine. And you just need to find your own method. I think the first part of healing is actually being mindful. With mindfulness, you are just aware of what you're feeling. If you're feeling anger, you're like, oh, I'm angry. There must be some sort of reason behind this anger. Or I'm sad. There's probably a solid rationale as to why I'm sad if I dig deeper. Just being aware and just letting things flow, that is the first step to healing. When I first started healing, I remember being pissed off at the world for a solid month and a half. Like every single day I would have anger like coming out of my eyes. I would just be shooting lasers, I was so absolutely positively pissed off. I never really got the opportunity to just be angry or just let my emotions flow in a healthy manner, in a healthy confined space. And I was always punished for it growing up. So I developed a habit to just compartmentalize it and never think about it again until I started healing. This was my time to grieve and just be upset and also cry. A lot of tears were shed during this time period. The thing is, you don't have to accept this feeling or this experience or whatever right now. That comes at a later point in time. But please do not restrict it. Just let your emotions flow because they're there for a reason. You're not feeling anger just to feel anger. No, why would you? There is a solid reason behind your anger, behind your negative emotion. So don't hold back. But a disclaimer, please do it in a way that you don't hurt yourself or others, and it's not morally gray or whatever. Just do it in a healthy way. Punch a pillow, maybe scream into your pillow, maybe scream at someone with consent and just explain your situation. I've also heard that axe throwing is a very good way to do it. So go to your local axe throwing vendor and go for it, After that stage of just letting go and also being mindful of your emotions and things like that, the second stage for me was to get to know myself. What I mean by this is both the positives and the negatives. So what you like, maybe like your favorite food, or maybe your favorite activity, maybe kind of explore your hobbies a little bit, but also your triggers. And this is a pretty important stage because this is when I try to connect to my inner child. And I know that, some people don't really like using the term inner child, but I personally do because I do have a bit of childhood trauma. And I just like checking in with her and connecting with her to make sure that she's taken care of. So really understand what you need right now and your inner child. What do you guys need? And how can you currently provide that security for both your inner child and yourself? And I feel like this is the time to really explore, really do whatever it is that you want to do. For some, it is going back to your childhood activities, maybe like your hobbies. Maybe you were really into a sport, maybe you were really into drawing or something. Whatever it may be, do it. So from this stage, I've actually realized a lot about my personality. I've also learned, different hobbies and different things, but most of all, I've learned that I am not my parent. So my parent growing up, they basically just told me that I was exactly like them. And every single time I was a little bit different, they would be like, "What's wrong with you? Like, go back. That's not you." And I believe that. I genuinely believed that for my entire life. And it wasn't until like 2 years ago that I realized that I wasn't like that. And I was like, no wonder I was so unhappy. I wasn't living for myself. I stopped, thinking about what my parent might think if I do this, what other people might think if I do this. And I just stopped really caring. I mean, I still do care because I do have social anxiety, and I'm conditioned also from a very early age to really think about what other people think of me. But I have tried my best to, take that away from my current situation and just really focus on what do I want? What do I need? And I have learned so much about myself. The next stage after that is boundaries, setting boundaries. Boundaries. After you really get to know yourself, and you look around at, certain behaviors or certain patterns or certain people, and then you're like, wait a second, I don't like you. So that is when you lay boundaries. If something isn't really working for you, now that you know that about yourself and now that you're confident in yourself, because you should be, you can just be like, no, that's not gonna fly with me. No, I don't like that. And if people don't respect your boundaries, I'm sorry, but they're not really worthy of being in your life. And then cue the next partial kind of stage. It's like a 3.1 stage, let's just say. It is the cutting people out. This is a stage where I cut out so many people that just did not really vibe with me. A lot of people think that you have to do something absolutely terrible in order for someone to cut you out of their life, but not necessarily. You can just not vibe with that person and be like, oh, we're just not compatible. We're not gonna end on bad terms. I'm not gonna be like, you suck. I'm not gonna do that, but we're not going to be really close friends anymore. We might be acquaintances. We just know each other now. And that's fine. People outgrow each other, people change. We have different priorities and ideas. And I think the idea of just limiting your inner circle should be normalized. I feel like this is pretty difficult, especially for like family members. And I know that this is very, very difficult. I'm still struggling with setting boundaries with family members because they don't necessarily respect it. And, it's really hard to communicate what exactly I'm feeling and the rationale behind that. But, it's a work in progress, and it is definitely worth it because you are worth it. You deserve all the good energy. And the final stage is acceptance. This is where you understand that your trauma does not define you. Your trauma does not equate to who you are or what your worth is as a human being. If those things happen to you, that sucks. And I am genuinely very, very sorry that that happened to you. And I would like to punch the person that did it. But that does not mean that you are less of a person. And I feel like that comes with acceptance, because you're like, yes, I know that this happened to me. And yes, I understand that this hurts, and I'm still going to maybe, have resentment, or I'm going to have a little bit of anger that comes with this. But in the end, I know that I didn't make that happen. I am not a victim of this trauma. I am a survivor, and I am going to move forward with my life. Also, bonus points if you address your toxic behaviors as well, because we're all human. We have our strengths and we have our weaknesses. And I've realized that I had a bit of toxic behaviors that I picked up on and made it into my own. Like, I could have done better. I definitely could have done better, and I should do better. And, it was really difficult to understand where this comes from and how to undo it. And yeah, so I know I said that, acceptance is the last stage, and it really is, but I feel like there's an honorable mention, and it's repeat. You just repeat it and repeat it until you are healed. But I'm not sure if healing there's like an end point to healing. I feel like, it's just an ongoing, continuous process, and I'm okay with that. Like, honestly, there are so many other things that I want to talk about, because I understand that healing is, it's a very intricate topic. There's so many details to talk about and cover, but I don't want to make this into like a 2-hour lecture kind of thing. I'm not like a lecture, but like, you get my point. Like, I don't want to make this into like a long ass video. So I am just gonna cut it short, but those were the main stages of my personal healing experience and what I'm expecting and what I think of when I think of healing. On an ending note, I just want to say that our healing processes are very, very unique to who we are as human beings. So, once again, one person's healing journey or healing challenge might not completely resonate with you. And once again, that is completely fine. We just have to find the one that works for us. And let's be honest, healing is really difficult, because I have gotten a lot of comments from people that have said, oh, you're just using healing as an excuse to like do nothing or like go on a vacation. And healing is like a full-time job plus overtime without any PTO. It's terrible. To all of the people that are on their own respective healing journeys, I would like to applaud you guys. Seriously. Especially if you have like a full-time job on top of this full-time job, like, oh my gosh, whew. I respect y'all so much. Oh my gosh, y'all are doing amazing, like amazeballs. I don't know where that came from. But anyways, on that note, I think that this is a good place to wrap up day 3 of this healing journey, challenge, adventure thing. Thank you guys so much for joining me on day 3, and I will see you tomorrow for day 4.